Ambassador Ta stood silently as the laughter echoed through the grand chamber of the Galactic Council. The Graxians had once again become the punchline of cosmic politics. His thin gray fingers gripped the speaking podium, the only sign of his distress as 50 different species joined in mocking his people. Perhaps the esteemed representative from Graxia should focus on not trembling before sharing their scientific observations, boomed Councillor Drav, his massive four-armed frame shaking with mirth. Their calculations about the approaching anomaly are clearly as fragile as their bodies. More laughter rippled through the chamber. Taz's thin gray skin flushed with blue embarrassment, but he maintained his composure. The Graxians' physical weakness had always made them targets, despite their technological brilliance. "The data is correct," Ta said quietly. "The anomaly will reach critical systems within 12 cycles. We must prepare." 12 cycles gives us ample time to analyze real data, said High Minister Vox, her crystalline form glittering under the chamber lights. This session is adjourned. The council members filed out, many still chuckling. Ta gathered his data tablets with careful movements. His species' brittle bones and delicate muscles had evolved on a low-gravity world, making them physically inferior to most council races. Yet their minds had compensated, developing technology centuries ahead of their galactic neighbors. Not that it earned them any respect. "Another productive day of the council?" asked Vin, Taz's assistant, waiting by the chamber doors. His sarcasm was evident despite his respectful posture. "They refuse to see what's coming," Tai replied, his large eyes blinking slowly in frustration. "The anomaly's acceleration patterns match our most pessimistic models." They walked toward the Graxian embassy, a modest structure compared to the towering delegations of the warrior races. Every step on the high-gravity council world required careful effort from the Graxians. "They'll regret dismissing us when the storm hits their precious trade routes," Bin muttered. "By then it will be too late for regrets," Ta said. In his private chambers, Ta collapsed into his specially designed chair, relieved to be in the embassy's reduced gravity. A soft chime announced an incoming transmission from Graxia. He tapped the receiver, and Science Director Jin's narrow face appeared. "Ambassador, our deep space monitors have detected something unusual. A non-council world called Earth. Its inhabitants are physically robust, yet technologically underdeveloped. They might be exactly what we need." Tai sat straighter. "Show me." The screen filled with images of a blue-green world. Then came pictures of the inhabitants, bipedal creatures of varied colors but similar builds. They appeared to be lifting heavy objects, running great distances, and surviving in harsh environments with minimal protection. "Their physical capabilities are remarkable," Jin continued. "They can endure pain, heal from injuries, and adapt to environmental changes in ways our physiology cannot. Yet they've barely achieved primitive space travel within their own system." Ta watched footage of humans constructing buildings, performing athletic feats, and operating in environments that would kill a Graxian instantly. Most fascinating was their evident diversity of thought. Their cities showed wildly different architectural styles, unlike the logical uniformity of Graxian design. Their history indicates extreme adaptability and resourcefulness, Jin added. They've survived catastrophes that should have ended their civilization multiple times. "And they're not known to the Council?" Tai asked. "Their system lies just beyond the mapping boundary of the last galactic survey. They would be discovered eventually, but for now, they remain outside Council jurisdiction." Tai's mind raced with possibilities. The Graxians' greatest weakness had always been their physical frailty. Their technology could accomplish wonders, but they lacked the bodily strength to implement many of their designs without cumbersome mechanical assistance. These humans appeared to be everything the Graxians were not, physically capable but technologically behind. A perfect complement. "What about their temperament?" Tai asked. Jin hesitated. "Complex. They're tribal and competitive, even violent toward each other at times. But they also show remarkable cooperation when faced with common threats. Like the approaching anomaly," Ta murmured. Precisely. Our calculations show the anomaly will reach their world eventually, though long after it hits our systems. Tay reviewed more data as Jin transmitted it. Humans were curious by nature, inventive, and possessed an unusual trait the Graxians had never mastered: intuitive thinking. Where Graxians processed problems with pure logic, humans seemed able to make creative leaps. Their weapons technology is concerning, Jin noted. They direct much of their innovation toward destructive purposes. A common trait among physically strong species, Tay replied. But they haven't destroyed themselves yet, which shows restraint. Ta made his decision. Prepare a stealth observation team. I want detailed reports on their social structures, decision-making processes, and technological adaptability. Is this wise, Ambassador? The Council would view unauthorized contact with an undiscovered species as a severe violation. The Council mocks us while ignoring an existential threat, Ta said firmly. I see something in these humans that they have missed, a potential that could save both our peoples. After Jin's image faded, Ta stood at his window, looking out at the glittering towers of the Council capital. For centuries, the Graxians had endured ridicule while contributing more to galactic science than any 3 Council races combined. Their warnings about the quantum anomaly were being ignored because of prejudice. Perhaps these humans, with their strange mix of physical prowess and technological potential, could change everything. The Council races believed strength came only from military might or political influence. They had never understood that true strength could emerge from unexpected alliances. Prepare my personal shuttle, Tai instructed Bin. Tell no one of our discovery. The time for Council protocols has passed. As his assistant hurried away, Tai studied the human images once more. Their faces seemed remarkably expressive, showing emotions much like Graxians despite their alien features. Let's see if you're as adaptable as you appear, he whispered to the images. The galaxy may depend on it. The emergency alarms in the Graxian Science Center had been ringing for 3 hours straight. Scientists rushed through the corridors with unusual haste for their normally deliberate species. Their thin limbs trembled not from physical exertion, but from fear. Ambassador Tay, the readings confirm it, Science Director Jin said, her voice steady despite the terror in her large eyes. The quantum anomaly has accelerated beyond all predicted models. It will reach our system in 23 days. Ta stared at the holographic display. The swirling mass of energy that defied normal physics was growing faster than anyone had anticipated. The beautiful blue-white sphere of their homeworld sat directly in its path. How many can we evacuate with our current fleet? Tai asked. Jin's slender fingers manipulated the data panels. 18% of our population, at most, and that assumes perfect coordination. The Council promised additional transport vessels. Where are they? Jin's skin flushed a dark blue, the Graxian sign of distress. High Minister Vox sent a message an hour ago. The vessels have been reassigned. They claim a priority situation in the dorsal sectors. Tay's fist struck the table, an unusual display of emotion for a Graxian. The dorsal sectors are in no danger for at least 6 months. They're abandoning us. The observation reports on his desk caught his eye. Detailed analyses of Earth and its inhabitants. For 3 months, stealth probes had been gathering data. The humans were even more fascinating than initially thought. They possessed remarkable physical abilities and an uncanny talent for improvisation. What of our Earth observation? Tai asked. Complete. The humans are primitive by Council standards, but advancing rapidly. Their physical capabilities exceed our initial estimates. Most importantly, they show a history of rapid technological adaptation when properly motivated. Tai made his decision. Prepare my personal transport. I'm going to Earth. Ambassador, this violates at least 7 Council directives, Jin protested. And how many directives did the Council violate by abandoning us to die? Ta countered. Download all anomaly data and our technological archives to my ship. 3 days later, Tai's ship entered Earth's atmosphere under cover of darkness. The stealth technology kept it invisible to most human detection systems, but not all. In a small observatory in the mountains, Dr. Han detected unusual atmospheric disturbances. Unlike her colleagues who dismissed the readings as equipment error, she drove to the predicted landing area. The forest clearing glowed with a soft blue light as Ta's ship settled between the tall trees. Dr. Han watched from behind a fallen log, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. When the ship's door opened, releasing a misty vapor, she gasped at the sight of the thin, gray figure that emerged. Tai spotted her immediately. His species vision was excellent in low light. "Please don't be afraid," he said, the translation device at his throat converting his speech. "I come with urgent purpose." To his surprise, the human female stood and stepped forward rather than running away. "I'm Dr. Han," she said, her voice barely trembling. "What kind of urgent purpose brings you to Earth?" "Survival," Tai replied simply. Within an hour, they sat across from each other inside Ta's ship. Han listened with growing concern as Tai explained about the quantum anomaly, showing her the data and projections. "This will eventually reach Earth too," she realized, studying the trajectory. "Yes, in approximately 4 years. But my world has less than a month." Han's mind raced with questions. Why come to us? Surely there are more advanced civilizations that could help. Tai's large eyes blinked slowly. "You possess extraordinary physical resilience, adaptability, and a unique problem-solving approach. The Galactic Council races either cannot or will not help us. Together, we might save not only my people but eventually yours as well. What are you proposing exactly?" "An alliance. We offer advanced technology centuries beyond your current capabilities. In return, we need your physical strength and your ships, modified with our technology to perform the evacuation." Han shook her head in disbelief. "I'm just an astrophysicist. I can't make those kinds of decisions for humanity." "But you can arrange meetings with those who can," Ta said. "Time is critical." What followed was the most extraordinary week in human history, though few would know about it. Han contacted trusted colleagues who contacted government officials. Ta met with a small group of world leaders in a secure underground facility. He showed them technology that seemed like magic, energy sources that could solve Earth's climate crisis, medical advances that could cure most diseases, transportation systems that would revolutionize human society. "Why should we trust you?" asked one skeptical leader. Tai activated a hologram showing the quantum anomaly's approach. "Because the threat is real, and it's coming for all of us. Your scientists can verify my data. The anomaly obeys physical laws, even if they're not ones you've discovered yet." Human experts worked day and night to confirm Ta's claims. When verification came, the decision was swift. A secret agreement was formed between the Graxians and Earth's major nations. Construction facilities were established in remote locations. Human shipyards began receiving mysterious upgrades. Select military personnel and scientists were briefed on the true nature of their work. 2 weeks after Ta's arrival, the first hybrid ship was ready for testing. It looked like a human naval vessel from the outside, but its interior contained Graxian quantum drive technology. Han stood on the deck beside Tai as the engines powered up. "Will it be enough?" she asked. "Can we save your people in time?" Tai watched as human crew members easily carried equipment that would have required mechanical assistance for Graxians. Their strong bodies moved with confidence through the ship, quickly learning to operate alien technology. "If anyone can do it, your species can," he replied. "We've always relied on our minds because our bodies were weak. You have both." As the ship rose silently into the night sky on its test flight, Tai felt something he hadn't experienced in years: hope. The Council had mocked his people for generations. They had dismissed the Graxians as weak and irrelevant despite their technological contributions. Now, alongside these remarkable humans, perhaps the Graxians would not only survive, but finally earn the respect they deserved. The real work was just beginning, and the clock was ticking. But for the first time since the anomaly was discovered, Ta believed there might be a future for his people after all. The underwater facility hummed with activity. 1 mile below the Pacific Ocean's surface, hidden from satellites and casual observers, humanity's greatest engineering project was taking shape. The massive dome, built in just 2 weeks with Graxian technology, housed thousands of workers from both species. In Bay 12, Engineer Jun wiped sweat from his brow as he held the glowing quantum matrix steady. The cylindrical device weighed nearly 80 pounds, but Jun kept it perfectly aligned while Graxian Engineer Du connected the delicate internal components. A little to the left, Du instructed, his thin gray fingers moving with incredible precision. Perfect. Hold it there for 20 more seconds. Jun's muscles burned with the effort, but he didn't complain. He knew that for the Graxians, this task would require 4 workers and a mechanical support system. His human strength was proving incredibly valuable. Remarkable, Du whispered as he completed the final connection. What would take 4 of our kind with mechanical assistance, you do with just your natural strength. And what would take our scientists 50 years to develop, you created in a single generation. Jun replied with a smile. That's why we make a good team. The quantum matrix glowed brighter as it synchronized with the ship's systems. This was the 12th vessel completed in 10 days, an impossible timeline before the Alliance. Across the facility, similar scenes played out. Humans provided the physical labor, while Graxians supplied the technical expertise. The integration of their different capabilities was working better than anyone had hoped. All systems nominal, Du confirmed, checking the diagnostics panel. Power efficiency is actually 8% higher than projected. Is that good? Jun asked, finally setting down the heavy component. It's unprecedented, Du replied. The human-designed cooling system is allowing the quantum drive to operate beyond our standard parameters. Your people's approach to engineering is unpredictable but effective. In the command center, Dr. Han and Ambassador Ta reviewed the latest progress reports. Ta looked considerably less stressed than when he had first arrived on Earth, though the situation remained dire. 17 ships completed, Han noted. How many do we need to evacuate your people? At minimum 40, Ta replied. But at this rate, we may exceed that target. Han nodded. The human crews are adapting to Graxian technology faster than expected. Your teaching methods are incredibly efficient. And your learning capacity continues to astonish us, Ta said. What takes our younglings 10 years to master, your people grasp in weeks. Their conversation was interrupted by the facility's cultural liaison, Q, who entered carrying several containers. Lunch delivery, Q announced cheerfully. The Graxian chefs have prepared something special today. The cafeteria had become an unexpected center of cultural exchange. Initially designed with separate eating areas, due to the different nutritional needs of each species, it had naturally evolved into a shared space where both humans and Graxians mingled freely. Tai observed with interest as humans sampled Graxian cuisine, nutrient-rich gels that had been modified to be compatible with human digestion. The Graxians, in turn, were fascinated by the concept of cooking food and the wide variety of flavors humans enjoyed. This is actually quite good, Han said, tasting a blue-tinted gel. Reminds me of blueberries. Our chefs added flavor components after learning humans eat for pleasure, not just sustenance, Tai explained. An interesting concept we never considered. Beyond food, other cultural exchanges flourished. During break periods, humans taught Graxians about music, sports, and art. The Graxians shared their mathematical poetry and philosophical traditions. Despite their physical differences, the species discovered surprising compatibility in how they viewed the universe. But not everyone approved of this new alliance. In the distant Galactic Council chamber, emergency alarms summoned representatives from across the galaxy. Councillor Drav pounded his 4 fists on the speaking podium, his voice booming through the hall. Our surveillance confirms it. The Graxians have shared restricted technology with a primitive species. This violation demands immediate sanction. The evidence displayed on the chamber's main screen showed human Graxian hybrid ships rising from Earth's oceans for test flights. The vessels moved with impossible speed and maneuverability for their size. The weaklings have found each other, Drav continued with a sneer. Graxians sharing technology with primitives is against regulatory statutes. I move for immediate military intervention. High Minister Vox's crystalline form glittered as she rose to speak. Before we vote on military action, there is another matter to consider. Our scientists have new data on the quantum anomaly the Graxian ambassador warned us about. The display changed to show the swirling energy mass that was moving through space. The council members fell silent as they saw its new trajectory and acceleration. The anomaly has increased speed again, Vox admitted reluctantly. Current projections show it will reach the Graxian homeworld in 7 days, not the 12 cycles originally predicted. Councillor Kell, a gas-based entity floating in a containment field, spoke next. And how long until it reaches council space? Approximately 30 days after Graxia, Vox replied quietly. The chamber erupted in panicked discussions. Drav's voice eventually cut through the noise. Then we must accelerate our own evacuation plans. Recall all available council vessels to assist our worlds, including those promised to the Graxians, Vox asked pointedly. Especially those, Drav thundered. We cannot waste resources on a lesser race. Back on Earth, unaware of the Council's debate, the work continued at frantic pace. Jun and Du had moved to the testing chamber, where completed ships underwent final inspections. The Council would never believe this is possible, Du said as they watched a hybrid vessel perform maneuvers that defied conventional physics. They've always underestimated both our species. Why do they hate you so much? Jun asked. Your technology is centuries ahead of theirs. Du's skin flushed slightly blue, the Graxian equivalent of a sad smile. They don't hate us. They simply don't respect us. Physical strength is highly valued in galactic culture. Our bodies evolved for thinking, not fighting. Well, now you have us, Jun said, placing a gentle hand on Du's thin shoulder. And we're pretty good at fighting when we need to be. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent announcement over the facility's communication system. All section leaders report to Central Command immediately. Priority Alpha. When Jun and Du arrived, they found Tai and Han looking grim. The main screen showed new data on the quantum anomaly. It's accelerated again, Tai explained. We now have less than 7 days before it reaches my homeworld. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Their deadline had just been cut in half. Can we make it? Jun asked finally. Han looked at the production charts, then at the worried faces of both humans and Graxians around the room. We have 22 ships completed, she said firmly. We'll need to launch with what we have and complete the rest of the fleet in transit. It's possible, but every minute counts now. Ta nodded slowly. Then we begin evacuation immediately. May your strength and our knowledge be enough to save us all. As alarms sounded throughout the facility, Jun and Du exchanged determined looks. Two species, once strangers, now united against an approaching disaster. The real test of their alliance was about to begin. Captain Sue stood on the bridge of the flagship Harmony, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. The quantum storm filled the display, a churning mass of purple-blue energy that defied normal physics. It looked beautiful and deadly, like an ocean wave frozen at the moment before it crashes. Distance to quantum front? Sue asked, her voice calm despite the tension in the air. 18 minutes at current speed, replied Navigation Officer Yun, a human whose fingers moved rapidly over the control panel. Beside him sat a Graxian co-pilot, monitoring the quantum drive readings. Sue surveyed the bridge. Humans and Graxians worked side by side at each station. What had begun as an emergency alliance had evolved into something remarkable. The humans provided physical strength and intuitive decision-making. The Graxians contributed their advanced technology and precise analytical skills. Together, They had accomplished in weeks what should have taken years. "Fleet formation holding steady," reported Tactical Officer Gill. "All 50 vessels in position." Behind the Harmony, 49 hybrid ships formed a protective barrier between the storm and the Graxian homeworld. The blue-white planet looked small and vulnerable against the backdrop of space. Evacuation had begun, but only 30% of the population had been relocated. Millions still remained on the surface. "Council fleet has arrived," announced Communications Officer Min. "They're requesting coordination protocols." Sue nodded. "Send them our formation data." The view screen split to show a secondary image. 27 Council warships taking position behind the human Graxian line. Their arrival had been a surprise. After abandoning the Graxians to their fate, the Council had realized the storm would eventually threaten their territories too. Ambassador Ta stood at Sue's side, his thin frame seeming especially fragile in the midst of the crisis. "Their formation is too rigid," he observed, studying the Council ships. "The storm doesn't follow conventional physics." "Then we won't follow conventional tactics," Sue replied. She opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, this is Captain Sue. Execute Pattern Omega. Adaptive response protocols active." Across the fleet, human captains acknowledged the order. The hybrid vessels began shifting from their uniform barrier into smaller, more dynamic groupings. Some accelerated forward while others dropped back, creating a three-dimensional defense network. "Council Commander demands to know what we're doing," Min reported. "They insist we maintain standard defense line." "Tell them to adapt or withdraw," Sue replied. "We have 7 minutes until contact." The Council fleet maintained their rigid formation, a standard defense grid that had worked against conventional space threats for centuries. Their massive warships dwarfed the human Graxian vessels, but lacked their maneuverability. "Storm acceleration detected," warned Science Officer Du, his Graxian eyes wide as he read the data. "Contact in 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Sue activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, secure for storm contact." Graxian personnel to designated safety zones. Throughout the Harmony, Graxian crew members moved to specially reinforced compartments. Their fragile bodies couldn't risk being thrown about if the ship took heavy impacts. Human crew members took over all physical tasks, preparing for the coming battle. "Quantum stabilizers at maximum," reported Chief Engineer Jun over the comm. "Adaptive shielding ready." The bridge fell silent as the storm approached. Sue felt sweat on her palms, but kept her expression confident. No one had ever attempted to counter a quantum storm before. Their plan existed only in theory. 3 minutes to contact, Yun announced. Sue looked at Ta. "Ambassador, you should join the other Graxians in the protected area." Ta shook his head. "My place is here. Whatever happens, we face it together." The gesture wasn't lost on the bridge crew. Despite his physical vulnerability, Ta was choosing to stand with them. 1 minute to contact, called Yun. Storm front expanding. "All ships, engage quantum buffers on my mark," Sue ordered. 3, 2, 1, mark. 50 hybrid vessels activated their primary defense systems simultaneously. The Graxian quantum technology created overlapping fields designed to disrupt the storm's energy patterns. On the view screen, the ships glowed with blue light as the purple mass of the storm engulfed them. The Harmony shuddered violently. Warning alarms blared across the bridge. "Shield strength at 80%, reported Gill. "Storm intensity exceeding predictions by 30%. Sue gripped her chair as another impact rocked the ship. "Maintain buffer synchronization." Group 2, Titan formation. The hybrid vessels moved with remarkable agility, adjusting their positions to reinforce weakening areas in their defense network. Unlike the Council ships, they didn't try to simply block the storm, but worked to channel and disperse its energy. "Council flagship reporting critical failures," called out Min suddenly. "Their shields are collapsing." On the secondary display, Sue saw the Council formation breaking apart. Their rigid approach was failing against the storm's chaotic patterns. The massive lead vessel was spinning, emergency lights flashing along its hull. "They have over 3,000 crew members," Ta said quietly. Sue didn't hesitate. "Bring us about," she ordered. "We're going in." The Harmony turned sharply, breaking from its defensive position to head toward the crippled Council flagship. 3 other hybrid vessels followed. "Are you sure about this?" Gil asked. "If we weaken our formation, if their ship is destroyed, the debris will create secondary storm pockets we can't control," Sue explained. "And I'm not going to watch 3,000 people die when we can help." The Harmony maneuvered alongside the massive Council vessel. Their sleek human Graxian design looked tiny next to the kilometers-long warship. "Establish emergency docking," Sue ordered. "Prepare rescue teams." What followed would later be called the Miracle of Graxia. Human rescue teams boarded the failing Council ship, physically carrying Graxian engineers through sections where gravity and life support were failing. Together, they implemented emergency repairs, applying Graxian quantum technology to stabilize the Council vessel systems. On other damaged ships, similar scenes played out. Human strength and Graxian knowledge worked in perfect harmony. Meanwhile, the remaining hybrid vessels adjusted their formations continuously, using their unique technology to create a cascading quantum buffer that gradually dispersed the storm's energy. For 6 hours, they fought against the storm. Ships were damaged, crew members injured, but not a single vessel was lost. The hybrid fleet's adaptive approach proved superior to conventional tactics. Their quantum buffers slowly weakened the storm, breaking it into smaller pockets that could be neutralized individually. When it was finally over, Captain Sue stood warily at the viewscreen. The storm had been reduced to scattered energy wisps that posed no further threat. The Graxian homeworld was intact, along with 3 Council worlds that would have been next in the storm's path. "Damage report," she requested. 14 ships with moderate damage, no casualties," Jill replied with amazement in his voice. "The Council fleet lost 2 vessels and reports over 500 casualties." Sue turned to Ta, who was looking at his homeworld with visible emotion. "We did it," she said simply. "Not just my world," he replied. "You saved Council worlds too. Worlds that abandoned us." Communications Officer Min interrupted. "Captain, we're receiving priority transmissions from the Council High Command and from Earth. They're requesting to speak with both of you together." Sue and Ta exchanged looks. The galaxy had just changed forever, and everyone knew it. What had begun as a desperate alliance between outcasts had become something much more powerful. "Put them through," Sue ordered. "Let's see what they have to say now." The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from 200 species filled the tiered seating, with many more watching through virtual connections. At the center of the chamber stood Ambassador Ta, his thin gray frame standing straight despite the gravity that made each moment painful for his Graxian physiology. 3 weeks had passed since the quantum storm. 3 weeks of diplomatic chaos as the galaxy tried to understand what had happened and what it meant for the future. The Human Graxian Alliance does not seek special privilege within the Council, Ta stated firmly, his voice carrying through the hushed chamber. "We seek recognition that diversity of strength is the foundation of true galactic cooperation." Beside him stood Admiral Han, formerly Dr. Han, now the human representative to the Council. She wore a simple blue uniform with no decorations, yet she commanded attention by her mere presence. The same Council members who had once mocked the Graxians now looked upon the Alliance with newfound respect, and no small amount of fear. Councillor Drav, once the loudest critic of the Graxians, sat unusually quiet. His massive 4-armed frame seemed somehow smaller today. 2 of his homeworld's colonies would have been destroyed if not for the human Graxian fleet's actions. "We have reviewed your proposal," said High Minister Vox from her crystalline podium. "The technology-sharing agreement you suggest would fundamentally change Council structure." "As it should," Han replied. "The old structure failed when tested. 50 hybrid ships accomplished what 300 Council vessels could not." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many species were uncomfortable with how quickly the humans had mastered Graxian technology. In just weeks, they had gone from a primitive, isolated species to a power that could challenge the Council's military might. The humans' physical capabilities combined with Graxian technology create concerning implications for security, muttered Vox, her crystalline form glittering nervously. We saved your worlds when your methods failed, Han replied evenly. We seek partnership, not dominance. The voting process took hours. Every member species had questions, concerns, and demands. Through it all, Tai and Han stood side by side, presenting a united front that impressed even their critics. When the final votes were tallied, the result was closer than anyone had predicted. By a margin of just 12 votes, the Council accepted the human Graxian proposal. Earth would be granted full Council membership, skipping the usual century-long probationary period. Technology sharing would be encouraged rather than restricted. Most importantly, a new Council principle was adopted. Physical strength and technological advancement would no longer be valued separately, but as complementary traits. As they left the chamber, Tai walked slowly, his energy depleted by the long session. Need a lift? Han asked with a smile. That would be appreciated, Tai admitted. Without hesitation, Han scooped up the Graxian ambassador as if he weighed nothing, carrying him easily through the corridors. Several council members watched with astonishment at this display of both human strength and the trust between the two species. They still can't quite believe it, Han observed, that we work so well together. They will learn, Tai replied, as we did. In the years that followed, the alliance transformed both societies. Human innovation accelerated with access to advanced Graxian science, while Graxian culture flourished with the protection and physical assistance that humans provided. Earth became a hub of galactic commerce and scientific advancement. Cities grew upward and outward with Graxian architectural influence. Space elevators, once merely theoretical for humans, became commonplace. Disease and energy scarcity became distant memories as Graxian medical and power generation technology spread across the planet. The Graxian homeworld changed too. Human engineers designed special exoskeletons that allowed Graxians to move freely in environments they once found crippling. Sports and physical activities, previously impossible for their fragile bodies, became popular. Their art, once focused exclusively on mental concepts, began to explore physical expression. Both species benefited from cultural exchange. Humans learned patience and long-term thinking from the Graxians, who typically lived for 300 years. Graxians adopted human creativity and spontaneity, qualities they had once dismissed as primitive. 5 years after the storm, the first joint colony ship prepared for launch. The Horizon was the largest vessel ever built, designed to carry 10,000 colonists, half human, half Graxian, to a distant star system. On the observation deck of the orbital construction facility, Admiral Han and Ambassador Ta watched as the final preparations were completed. I never imagined this when I first spotted your ship landing in that forest, Han said. Nor did I imagine being carried through the council chambers by a human. Tai replied with the blue-tinted smile that indicated Graxian amusement. Below them, humans and Graxians moved about the dock in perfect cooperation. Graxian supervisors directed complex technical operations while humans handled the physical tasks. Neither species seemed aware of how remarkable their partnership had become. It was simply how things worked now. Do you remember when they used to laugh at us? Tai asked quietly. Han smiled. They're not laughing anymore. The Horizon departed the next day, beginning a journey that would establish the first of many joint colonies. It became a template for future expansion, humans and Graxians working together to achieve what neither could alone. The Council itself changed over time. Species that had once dominated through physical intimidation found themselves matched by new alliances. Technology-focused races that had been dismissed as weak found new strength through partnerships. The entire balance of power shifted toward cooperation rather than competition. A century later, As a new species was welcomed into the Galactic Council, the officiating representatives were, as tradition now dictated, a Graxian and a human standing side by side, a living symbol of how the unlikeliest alliance had forged a stronger galaxy for all. The new species, the Varanth, were large insectoid creatures with powerful bodies, but limited technological development. They looked nervously at the assembled council members, clearly unsure of their place in this gathering of advanced civilizations. "Do not fear judgment based on what you lack," said the human representative. "Look instead to what you can contribute, and to what unexpected allies you might find," added the Graxian. "The strongest bonds often form between those who seem most different." The Varanth representative relaxed visibly. Across the chamber, Councillor Drav's great-grandchild, now representing their species, nodded in approval. The lesson of the human-Graxian alliance had not been forgotten. In the great archive of council history, the story was still told how the mocked and dismissed Graxians have found strength in the most unexpected place, and how together with humans, they had saved not just their own worlds, but changed the galaxy forever. It began with mockery, but ended with respect. It began with desperation, but ended with prosperity. And it proved, beyond any doubt, that true strength comes not from domination, but from cooperation.